Good afternoon. It's Paul Burke here from CEO of NT Farmers. Got great pleasure in welcoming Minister for Primary Industries and Resources and Member for Port of Darwin here today. The Honourable Member, the Honourable Minister Paul Kirby. Thanks, Mr. Kirby.
Thank you very much. That's a bit of a mouthful when you try and say it like that. Really proud, really happy to be here. We've actually just come out of a meeting with the NLC around opportunities and some options that might open up into the future. So I'm happy to slide that into some of the conversations that we have as well. Really happy to be with everybody, really happy to take direction from Paul about how the conversations go and where they go, and if there's anything that we've missed at the end, happy to tidy those up. I guess this is one of the communications mediums that people have used more and more. We've done a few different Zoom meetings and things like that. Certainly as a government, it's something that we'll look to cut costs on. We find that, even phone hookups aren't quite as good. The Zoom meetings are really good because you can have interaction with people, but to be able to interact with our federal counterparts at a much more regular basis, we found really a great tool to have through this process, and certainly in Cabinet we've been speaking about as something that we should look to do for two reasons. One, because we'll save a truckload of money out of it, to be honest with you, in not having to send people down south, flights, accommodation, when the borders do open back up. And the other thing is just we can do it more regularly because it's easier and cheaper and more doable, then we get a better chance to get our issues front and centre for the feds to keep a close eye on and hopefully some assistance on.
Well, I've certainly learned to use Zoom, Minister, over the last 10 weeks, so I wasn't an expert before. We might kick off. What we've actually done is we've got a lot of questions this week, actually, people sent in beforehand, so I'll crack on with a few of those. Minister, as we move into a recovery phase from the coronavirus pandemic, what are the key things we've learned in regards to the biosecurity measures and resilience for the supply chain?
I guess to set the foundation, particularly as we discussed coming out of COVID, we'll concentrate a lot on some exciting and new projects. We understand that there's an element of the public that will want to see that, but we're also very conscious and very cognizant of our staples, and the ag industry is certainly a massive part of our staples and a massive part of what we know that we can grow going forward. I know that, Paul, you've done some great work with trying to open up market availability locally, and that was even pre-COVID, so more than happy to continue to work down that line. Overarchingly with the feds, there's a lot of conversations going on around markets. They're changing all the time. In some areas, we're finding that as markets may be closing down, there are instantly new markets opening up. I guess probably the barley discussion is one we don't need to delve into too heavily here, but and certainly something that as a territory minister, we're not seeking to take pot shots at the Prime Minister about entering into debates about those things. We know that we have to have strong relationships with our neighbours to our north. If there's an opportunity out of this to make sure that we have stronger relationships locally, if there's a capacity for our produce to go straight into local and regional Northern Territory stores and communities, then that's a great benefit for all of us. I guess the international labour force is something that we're still working really closely with the feds on. We met with the mango players yesterday and got some great feedback from them. I guess there's a range of different numbers in people's heads about what we need to try and land on. It's a very a fluid conversation, I guess, as things progress. If we can get a few hundred people in here at the time, I guess the other thing is probably try not to step on the toes of too many of the questions coming up into the future. But if we can get people from overseas, I think we'll stand a good opportunity to get a reasonable number of people in at a time. We know that some players interstate, we've already reached out to some ministers interstate. We know that they may have some capacity to assist, and it's certainly something that I've spoken with we'd say great farmers through Central Australia, that they knew that they had people on properties in Victoria. We knew some weeks ago that we would have the capacity to get people up, to get them quarantined on the farm, get food and any other essential supplies delivered out to them. There's a way through all of that. And if there's concerns around how those specific COVID plans might look into the future, I'm certainly happy to delve more into explaining more about that.
And that's probably a really good point, Minister. If we've got producers on the line that are struggling with their COVID-19 management plan and trying to understand where their workforce is coming from, please reach out to N2 Farmers. We're here to help you. We don't know there's a problem unless someone tells us there's a problem. So, come to us in the first instance, and we'll make sure your views are being listened to. Probably one of the biggest learnings I've got, Minister, out of this has been around how all levels of government have come together and worked in a proactive way. The Feds, the National Cabinet, even a lot of those party lines disappeared for a period of time. And I just wanted to preface that in terms of, in hindsight, is there anything we can learn from the pandemic? Because there will be learnings out of that, and from an industry's point of view, to see the federal government, the territory government, the opposition, everyone pulling in and having a crack at what's been probably the biggest issue in my lifetime, and probably most of our lifetimes. So is there any learnings, do you think, moving forward?
Yeah, certainly, Paul. From an overarching federal level, as I mentioned, I know that they're considering and in discussions around keeping that federal cabinet model. I heard one of the federal politicians talking the other day in one of his speeches, and the terminology he used was that we've all got the green and gold tracksuit on at the moment. That probably makes light of it a little bit, but it does highlight that everybody has been pulling in the same direction. I think Gary Higgins, his advice and his being appointed to our reconstruction committees probably highlights that we wanted to take locally some of the politics out of it as well. We know that Gary's well respected through the industry and has been for a long time. So I think, as we're saying, going forward, we know that we probably have to have better processes in place for our workforces and make sure that we've got a better handle on. I know it's very fluid and it's hard to get an absolute picture on some of what we're dicing with at the moment. Is we need to bring people to the territory. They have to have an actual job before they can come. We and industry knows that there will be, up to a few thousand people that we're going to need, but the timing of getting all of that right. So I think with the assistance of the federal government, we can probably get a better handle on that and do that a bit better. From a local perspective, with our COVID plans, certainly something that we would do. We've insisted and inserted probably is a better way of doing it, and it's still, I know it's been frustrating, just the time frames that it's taken to get through some of our COVID plans. So I would probably seek to try and do that slightly differently. I'm happy to perhaps expand on that a little bit now if that will help. Just because it is an absolute health pandemic, we know that the crisis for a lot of us, then becomes operational, it then becomes work-related, then becomes, an absolute economic crisis. But to deal with it in the first instance and to make sure there wasn't interference from outside entities, health did take the lead on that, and health have still got the lead on that. Fair to say that Alistair Trier has done a fantastic job, and I know that Ian and a range of other people from our department have worked really, really closely with health to try and make sure that if there are COVID plans from people that haven't got something right, they try and remove that from the process, get that fixed up, and then get it inserted back into the process so we don't lose time with things being assessed, taken back, and then starting from ground zero. Again, we've also know that health has gone to more of an online focus recently, and I know that created some frustrations for people that got paper applications in, they've got to a certain level and then had to perhaps start the process again. So there would be a number of things that we do differently. We have pushed and probably stretched some friendships as much as we can to make sure people understand how critical things are, how critical the timelines are, and make sure that we do have those plans approved in the right sequence The mining industry, they were very good, very quick, and got theirs done probably before there were a backlog, and they have a mountain of people in all of those big enterprises that deal specifically with requirements of workplace health and safety acts and things. So they were probably in the best position to be able to quickly pull something together and get it approved before there were big backlogs. And yeah, that's probably one of the things that we regret the most. There is backlogs. I'd be interested to hear if people are still having troubles with that. We know that as the biosecurity zones lift, that will lift some requirements for people. There will probably still be some issues going forward, so happy to hear that from people.
And please reach out. We've certainly elevated them through to the Minister when needed, and in other cases we've assisted people to get through the process. So if you're having problems, just reach out. Happy to take anyone's call at any time. I guess in terms of your portfolio, Minister, as Minister for Agriculture and Resources, agriculture and resources are going to do a lot of the heavy lifting in recovery. It's going to take the tourism industry a long time to rebound. You know, what are the key milestones you think in your mind that we can achieve in the near future and in the longer term as we move forward? You know, like agriculture's got so much potential, and I think everyone for the last 30 years has talked about developing the north and the opportunity of the north. You know, what are the short-term things and what are the medium-term things we can hope to see?
I think that's one of the positives that will come out of this pandemic, is that the Territory will get a sharper focus from the federal government. I think the problems and the breadth of issues that we face in the Territory, it's much, much easier now to get that straight in front of the Prime Minister. We haven't had that ability before, so where we need their assistance, and that I think everybody probably understands, that won't come in the realm of great GST relief or anything like that. They're going to lose a massive whack out of their revenue bucket as well. So what that does is put a sharper focus on us having the capacity to pay our own way. And as I explained to the Land Council, who had Andy Liakwa and the Tui Land Council on the phone hook up as well, that we know that involves us working closer with them, with getting approvals through and across the line. I think we've done some great work as a government to try and set aside some strategic water reserves so that Aboriginal people know that if they've got the capacity to get a business up and running, that they'll have some of the critical ingredients that they need. By the same token, if they haven't, that water's still available, people can trade that, people can enter into that. Some of the opportunities out Spirit Hills way, and I guess without going into too much detail, the flavour of what we talked about with the land councils, and I'm sure I'm not misrepresenting the conversations that we had with them, is as a government to try and set the structures in place, to try and set the foundation so that everybody understands the boundaries that they can operate within, and then get out of the way. And then have industry deal directly with either the land councils or the traditional owners. There was some good messaging from the land councils today saying their role in all this is to represent the traditional owners. So if there is people that genuinely want extra agricultural opportunities in their districts and in their areas and in their communities, I'm confident going forward we'll get a sharper focus on that and the ability to come to an agreement on those quicker than what we've done in the past.
I certainly, from an industry point of view, we welcome the opportunity to have that open dialogue with land councils and traditional owners. It's certainly at plus 50% of the land mass in the Territory. That creates significant opportunity, and there's some really high value land that could be developed for industry and prosper for Indigenous people. So that's really welcome news, Minister. So congratulations. We just need to see it happen now.
Well, and to be honest, that was a really clear message from the land councils, because the crux of our meeting was around Blue Mud Bay. The crux of their message was, you know, we've had a lot of time of dealing with this, and I guess a decade gets thrown around for For a lot of Indigenous people, it's been going on for a lot longer than that. We've got some solid plans, we think, with the heads of agreement that we signed with them last year to be able to move through into the next phase, and clearly saying to us that enough with the talk, we want to see some of the doing being done. So I'm confident over the next couple of months they'll put a really sharp focus on us. They're not silly people. They'll make sure that we get some commitments across the table.
And I think having a reconstruction committee with the land councils and industry on there, there's going to be a level of goodwill that we can work towards actually expediting things and actually creating some of these economies in the Indigenous community. So we certainly welcome that. In terms of the role government will play in the recovery process for the territory, what are the top priorities? I mean, we've talked about for years about streamlining approvals processes and things like that. Are they things that might be on the table, or what is government's role in the recovery?
Yeah, I think it's important to try and highlight to people that as much as we've spent a good deal of time getting some systems and processes in place that we know from environmental space probably needed to happen, there's a real sharp focus on making sure that they don't hold anything up, and if there is capacity to get to, if we use Spirit Hills for an example, get to what do we need to make happen for the doing to happen, and that's perhaps for us to set the parameters, get out of the way and make sure that the proponents, whether they're from the territory or from interstate, that have the capacity to invest in these programs, that they get and have those discussions with traditional owners as soon as they possibly can. As far as having things approved as soon as we possibly can, there will certainly be a sharp focus on that. Certainly be, we've done a body of work around water allocations, and I know that's frustrating for people in certain sectors and certain areas. We certainly will be working closely with the feds. As I said, I think those opportunities now to get stuff in front of federal government sooner rather than later, they understand that our capacity to grow, our own opportunities to grow from within is probably really at the forefront of needing to move forward. As we said, there's not going to be an extra bucket of money from GST. There's going to be less of that. The opportunities with infrastructure projects, well, maybe they might still be around, and we certainly know that some of the roads in central Australia have been on the focus of the federal government for a while. We're really hoping that we can put a sharper focus on that, because that's critical for people to be able to move around, and if we can get some investment into that, that will certainly help us out. But we'll certainly be looking to put a sharper focus on, that we're still working through some of those cotton opportunities to get that back in front of people, whether there's local jobs funds, anything that we can tap into at the moment to give ourselves the best opportunity to bounce out of this. Sometimes being a small jurisdiction can be a bit of a hindrance. Sometimes that means that we can bounce out of things really, really well. We've got a great blend on those reconstruction committees and overarching boards of well-respected locals, well-respected internationals and individual industry components. So more than happy to hear from people if they've got ideas that they want to feed into that. I know you'll be in the same boat.
So yeah, we're happy to take, Simon Smith, our president, sits on one of those committees, so we're happy to take feedback, advice from any of our members or any industry players, because this is a critical time for us to actually get things in front of people. And if you've got a good idea, let's hear it. We're all about ideas at the moment, because we also know that recovery is going to take a bit of time, and if we're not pushing those ideas through quick enough, then we're probably remiss in our jobs. So please reach out if you've got an idea for an agricultural project. Love to hear it. Probably the other component, and we touched on this earlier around workforce, that's the one that is really going to keep, especially our mango industry, up at the moment. We know we're going to have a critical shortage of around 2,000 people. Early on, we had a lot of people that sort of in the unfortunate position from tourism businesses that found themselves out of work probably for the first time in their lives, and that's dreadful. But we saw a pipeline to be able to fix our problem with that. Now the hospitality businesses are all going back to work. That's probably dried up a little bit. The $750 a week JobKeeper payment. So I know we've spoken a lot about it, but do you have a feeling where that's sort of going to land?
Perhaps if I give people a bit of an overarching where we started from, right from the get-go, highlighting as we've had our federal ministers' hookups to make sure that Minister Littlebrow really understood the nuances in the Northern Territory on how heavily we rely on the seasonal workers. That's been something that we've really concentrated very heavily on to make sure he understands that there may have been some opportunities. I'm not saying that that's lost altogether, but we'd say our hospitality industry is something that we spoke about. If there were people that were able to transfer visas or roll their visas over into a different sector, that's something that we might have been able to control from within. I know that Paul's been working really closely with the people from DTBI setting up that jobs hub to make sure that if people are out of work or if they've got opportunities for workers, that there's a central body that we can work on to have that information readily available for people. So I guess on a number of fronts, we'll be looking now, as you say, hospitality, a large part of their workforce has probably gone back to work now, and to be absolutely honest, we knew that somebody that was perhaps running a restaurant at the waterfront or pouring a coffee at the coffee club was not going to be suited to pick mangoes in the middle of the deserts or melons or the like. So we knew that may not solve many of our problems at all. So we know and have known and have been concentrating with our ministers' offices about shipping workers and getting workers across. If they've got a glut of workers, that's probably been challenging to try and land on exact numbers, because with the movements of backpackers at the moment, it's something that is not formally documented anywhere, so it is hard to get an absolute understanding. People can give us a general assertion of how they think, and I think moving forward next week, that's probably something we'll get a much tighter idea of from our interstate counterparts and try and get as much help from the federal government as we possibly can about what workforce we might have available from interstate. If most states have probably played their cards pretty close to their chest, if they know that they've got just enough to get them through, they may not be willing to be sharing that information or sharing their workforce too much. So I think the conversations that we've had individually with some people with the mango industry yesterday with yourself is we are still perhaps going to need to rely on overseas workers. What does that mean about quarantining? Does that mean that it has to be done in a central facility? If we've got better data and intel now about, the Chief Minister mentioned yesterday, about testing people 3 days in and 3 days out sort of thing, so the 3rd day and the 10th day, to get some of the critical data to make sure that we know those people are right to go when they leave quarantining. But within a couple of weeks, depending on how the rest of Australia track, we might be in a better position again. The borders, you may have heard the Chief Minister mention yesterday that we'll go to more of a weekly review of how our borders are tracking more than a fortnightly or monthly, that things are moving that quickly, that the southern states are tracking probably better than we thought. So that will give us the opportunity to look at more of a weekly review of how things are tracking down there, of how we get people into the territory, whether that needs to be from overseas still. I think it probably will. How we quarantine people and make sure that they are safe. I know the mango industry were really, really keen, for example, to say, well, they may need to quarantine off the farm, so that if there are anybody that's got underlying health issues that turns into a problem, that it doesn't bring their farm into any concerns. With our mining industry, for example, they had COVID plans and reactive plans for if they did have any problems on their site, that they could isolate and quarantine somebody within the room and get them off the site straight away, keep closely monitoring people that had been within a reasonably close work distance. So yeah, there's a range of different things that we can continue to work through, but yeah, happy to take your advice around. If you think we've got the capacity interstate to deal with all those problems, or whether we definitively absolutely going to still need to bring an overseas workforce in, and where we know we're going to get a clean workforce from.
Yeah. I've got one question here from an audience member that came in today. Interestingly enough, through our Facebook page, N2 Farmers Facebook page, probably the one thing that we've got the most traffic on of recent times outside of COVID has been around the comments around the green army. And I know it's not your portfolio, but from an industry point of view, you know, it's great to see the government investing in land management in any capacity, and we know that a lot of this is going to be around parks and stuff. Do you have a view? Do you have a personal view on where that might go? I know this is, you know, not your area and it's Eva's area, but it does interact with our area, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I know that Eva is extremely keen on getting access. If we've got a range of workers that have been used, and if it is by local councils to tidy some things up, it's probably sits closer to my heart from a local perspective, as in local electorate, because it's the CBD area. As you move around the northern suburbs, you see down the grass and a lot of places that it shouldn't be, and places that it may not necessarily have been a decade ago. So yeah, there's a host of work that we can get people to be doing. I think there's a real concern, and I know a sharp focus on time frames around those JobKeeper and when that ends and what that means for people, what it means for businesses to be able to stay afloat. If there's access to a labour market there that can be trained up, and there's something we can explore rather than exploit, something we can explore to assist, yeah, more than happy to take people's advice on that. Be really interested to see what industry's opinions are on all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're out of time. We did have to get to half an hour today because the minister's really busy, but I just wanted to acknowledge in this whole process of COVID-19, thanks, Minister, for making the time. I know early on you and I would talk on the phone nearly daily. We'd have weekly briefings. The CEO of your department was there for all of us, and it does need to be acknowledged. And thanks for being available, and thanks for making the time to talk to industry today. Excuse me. And we hope to have you back in 5 or 6 weeks' time when the borders are open, and we can have a conversation about where recovery is going and what we're up to.
Yeah, certainly more than happy to come back as often as we can. It's they are great opportunities to get and speak with as many people as we can, understanding that the to and fro is not quite as easy with these types of setups. But yeah, I did want to once again just thank Alistair and all of the department people that have been involved. I wanted to thank the industry for their patience, because we know this has really tested people. I am really confident that we will bounce out of this. The Chief Minister has done a great job, but we don't spend any time patting ourselves on the back. He's driving me to make sure that we have the right people on those reconstruction committees, that we have the right information in front of them to make sure that every opportunity and things that may have frustrated Territorians for quite some time, we've got a different perspective of it and a different opportunity to put a different lens on it now to deal with it. So some of those things that may have caused us frustration in the past, we're hoping that we'll have the opportunity to work through those in a quicker way. And I guess just to continually thank people. The thing that struck me in the bit over 12 months coming back or coming into a role and being more closely aligned with primary industry. I've explained to people before, I did grow up in farming land in South Australia many years ago. It's been wonderful to come back. I've had some of my friends from down south that have got tied back up in the transport game, bringing things to the Northern Territory. Northern Territory has been nice to be able to catch up with them, but the respect that our Cabinet and the Chief Minister have for you as an industry, and for the care and maintenance that you show towards your industry, whether that be land or animals or the care of each other at times like this, it's not lost on us. It is something that we are very, very proud of. You should be very, very proud of it too. We probably haven't touched on the transport sides of things very much, but just to make sure people understand transport, logistics, markets. It's something that we do discuss at every co-ag ministers meeting that we have. We know that we'll continue to do a body of work, and we'll take advice from you because you know better than us. And really happy and thank Paul for all of your hard work at late nights, and nice to see you were able to have a shave before you came into this one.
Oh, thanks for ringing out. Thanks a lot everyone for joining us. Next week we're talking about a biosecurity issue again, but we're going to have a really in-depth look at fall army work. So whilst a lot of the attention has been on COVID and COVID recovery, next week we do need to get back to some business closer to home, and that's to understand fall army work and what we're doing over the coming months to try and address some of your concerns. So thanks very much everyone, thanks Minister, and please, if you're struggling, reach out to someone, make sure you ring your neighbour and say good day to him, make sure he's all right, because we're all in this together, and it's all about growing the territory on the other side towards a plant industry that's worth $600 million in the next 10 years. So thanks very much everyone, and talk to you next week.
Thanks everyone.